Hey everybody, Mushbeard here, back with some more Might and Magic Elemental Guardians, and today we will be taking a look at the semi-farm or semi-auto team that I was using to farm the dungeon over the weekend for the glyphs and the skill books. We'll pick it up about halfway here because I don't want to bore you with the whole video, but this is the team. I didn't use it the whole time, but when I decided to make a team that had no Nat4s in it, so they could, newer players that might be, this was your first one and you couldn't complete it, but you might be looking for, because it looks like they're going to happen probably once a month. So if there's a team you kind of want to start building towards for next month, this might be a team to look at. It is all Nat3s and Nat2s. Of course, there is, Water Treant could be considered an Nat4 probably, but this is the team I was using. It is 100% when I say semi-auto. I was autoing everything except for the boss. I probably could have autoed the boss, but with the time commitment that each run took and the energy, I didn't want to risk it. It was much faster just to auto the boss, or to manual the boss, and make sure that it went smoothly so I could get my rewards. For free-to-play players, this is very efficient dungeon. I know the runs mine were about 18 minutes long, 18 to 20 depending on how long, if someone died along the way or anything. But so that is quite a time commitment, but it is only 12 energy at that point, and you're getting a guaranteed orange glyph, possibly purple. You have a chance at skill books. You're getting 25.5 thousand mana or crystals. I think it's just a good investment, especially if you can't auto Wrath 10 at that point. It's just a good investment. Those are glyphs that will be great for you to use. The energy cost isn't that much different. You don't have to pay attention to your phone that much. But I will show the glyphs at the end here. But you can see the team we're using. Water Treant, who is the MVP of this team. If you do not have him, he is tough to replace because he's what kind of tanks the boss if things go south. I'm also using the Water Arcane Bird, which most people are probably using for the Wrath 10 teams to start with. I'm using the Air Felicor, which if you have the Water or Earth are way better. It would make this run even faster and safer. So you can use those. I'm also using the Water Fox and the Fire Kappa. So what this team is doing here is we have the Fire Kappa has tons of debuffs. He has AoE poison, he has AoE defense break, and he has AoE hunted, which means we do more damage. It's kind of like the branding effect if you played some other games. And that not only affects the damage you do from your creatures, it also affects the damage your summoner or your hero does with their staff. So that is something to definitely consider. It greatly increases the damage you can do with your staff. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. He also has single target slow and turn bar reduction, which we would be using to make sure the boss doesn't get as many turns, but that also has a 60% chance of bursting all poisons. And as we know from bosses, poisons only do 5% of their max health per tick, but if you burst them, they act as a normal poison. It does 10% per tick that would happen. So if you stack poisons up and you burst them, they're going to do the full 10% per tick, as opposed to if you just let them tick off for a boss. So that is very important. Obviously, the Water Tree has the skill that also bursts the poisons, but this gives you two ways to do it, as well as all the debuffs that he stacks. Water Fox is in here. Obviously, AoE heal is great, plus critical chance, always great. But the second skill is the main reason I have the Water Fox in here, which is the 2 buffs stolen. So when you get to the boss, you have all of the buffs. He puts up, I believe, up to three at a time, and those take up his precious debuff slots. You need to get them off. Not only does it make him invincible, as well as sharing damage with his minions, it also takes up precious debuff slots. So there's a couple ways to get around that. One is to use the Water Fox or a similar creature to steal the buffs. You could use Air Unicorn to prevent buffs, which takes up its own buff slot, or debuff slot. Another way is to just stack so many debuffs on there ahead of time that he actually can't buff himself, which I don't believe it's in this video, but I did it a couple times when I was doing these runs, where you'd have his one buff up, but I would have 7 other debuffs, and then he would use his skill and he couldn't get his 2 other buffs up because there was no slots for them. So that was a nice little way to prevent him from making himself invincible and stuff like that. The Air Felicor is in here because the single target 2-turn poisons, or not 3-turn poisons, 2 sets of 3-turn poisons, which is great for bursting because that is equivalent to 60% of their max health if you burst it when they're all up there. So that is huge damage right away just to be able to be bursted. Also has AoE, critical reception, so better chance of being crit, and defense break. And then first turn, his first skill also has poison as well. So even more poisons to stack up, although it is only one turn. The air bird is in here for protection. AoE, has AoE slow, has the protection shield, has the AoE attack debuff, and turn bar reduction. Great for making sure that the boss doesn't get any more turns than needed. And of course you have the Water Treant here, who's in here for healing, defense buff, the poisons, adding poisons, bursting poisons, all that kind of stuff, just to make this go faster and is much safer. As you can see, my team isn't really having any trouble with here. I had another video I was going to go over this with you, which was the full run, which is about 18 minutes long, but it crashed at the end when I got my loot. Like, I killed the boss, and before I could even see what the loot that I got, the game crashed. So I still don't know what I got, but I couldn't explain anything at the end, and I couldn't show the glyphs. So I decided just to do another run, and we'll cut it in halfway so you don't have to watch the full 18-minute run, because I don't know if I have that much to say about it, or you may not want to watch it the full time. So I'll go ahead, we're watching, and in that run that happened, things actually went south, because on wave 14, my fellow core actually died, so that made it much tougher. Though I did survive with manualing, it was a lot tougher, and it did take a little bit longer, but that's okay. Like, it showed that even in that run, it could still happen. I had a couple other runs where my water fox died, which made it a little more difficult as well with the buffs, but hey, things happen. We still managed to do it as long as we're manualing the boss. I typically, since I would be checking this every 5 minutes or so, to make sure everything was going smooth, I would typically take over manualing right towards the end of wave 14, just to make sure I'm not using precious cooldowns that would speed up the boss time. But there are times when it would auto all the way into the boss for a little bit before I'd notice, and as long as I manualed after that, I would be just fine. So, like I said, I probably could have autoed the boss. I just didn't want to take the chance because of the time investment that each run takes, as well as the 12 energy. I didn't want to have to spend the 15 seals to revive, just to clear the boss stage, because I wasn't paying attention. So I'd rather just manual the boss for 30 seconds to a minute, and then just hit auto right at the end of it, and so the next run starts on auto as well. I hope you guys had good experience with this dungeon than I did. I picked up like 10 magical books, and I didn't even get to farm that much. I was gone most of the day with my kids, so I only got to farm a little bit, but almost every run I was having for a while was just magic book, as well as either glyphs that were sold for money, which were good for crystals, because I was down to like 7,000 crystals. I had none. I was using it for upgrading glyphs, and I had nothing. When I ended up with over 700,000 by the end of the day, so it was good investment. Because the books, the crystals, I got runes that I could use. If not, they were sold for more money, which was even great. So, all right, we'll go ahead and see here. On the boss, we're going in. He is faster than me, which was a negative, but it does happen. But you can see he does hit me with all his debuffs. We hit him with the staff to try to remove the buff. It did not work. We used first attack because we didn't have anything else to do. Then we try to stack our two stacks of 3-turn poison. We get a regen going, we get a slow, and here we're going to go and steal the shared damage buff, so that the damage we do to him is not shared with his minions, and then we're going to burst the poisons, boom, with the Kappa. You can see that did a ton of damage. Just from having those 2 stacks up there, we're going to start stacking more poisons, turn bar reduction, we're going to get a heal in, just basic attack, he's going to hit, and that's okay, because we're going to say he is invincible at the moment, but only for one more turn, so we're going to keep just applying those poisons on there, and when that invincibility wears off, those poisons are going to kill him. So we're going to put Hunted up. He is stuck on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He only has 7. Huh, I wonder why that last slot didn't get taken. Alright, but you can see he is invincible to damage, but he's not immune to debuffs. So, as you can see, invincible wears off, poisons tick, boss dead. Real simple. So I think we'll go ahead and look at the glyphs real quick here. They're not super spectacular. My Treant has the best. I did sell that. Resistance, I don't need that. My Treant is where I've invested most of my glyphs at this point, because he is... We'll talk about free-to-play efficiency in another video here. I use him for my free-to-play efficiency. So I mean, they're not the greatest glyphs, but for me, they're the best I have. So then we got the Fire Kappa, who still needs some work. You got the Fox, who also needs some work. He's just really squishy. The Bird needs some work. They all need some work. they're all really slow too. They need to be much faster, but... And that's the end of the video. So that is it for this episode, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. You can use this for building your teams in the future. For the next go-round, it'll probably be in the next month or so. I believe this is the second one, and this has been out, game's been out for 2 months. I believe this is the second time they've done this, so I would say it's going to happen probably pretty frequently, about once a month. So start working towards those teams that can farm that second level for you if you haven't already, because it is really efficient, especially for free-to-play players. And hopefully you can speed up your times. I'm hoping to get mine down to 10 minutes next time would be nice in the next month with glyph upgrades and everything. But like I said, that is it for this episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Mushbeard. I am out.